Hi there everybody, and welcome to another video. On today's video I have this Mercedes S350, the V6 diesel engine here. I'm going to be changing the oil and the oil filter in it. I'm also going to top up some spring wash fluid and check the coolant level and percentage of antifreeze. So I have this oil filter for this car, the Bosch P7008, and we're gonna need 8 liters of oil. So I'm using this 5W30 Castrol Edge. This is C3 oil. It is written somewhere, which is for diesel engines, ACEA C3. So I was just saying this is the ACEA C3, and the Mercedes approval numbers are here. So when you reset the computer, you can have a look for these numbers and reset it accordingly. So anyway, I'm also going to use this gadget here to check the percentage of antifreeze in the car, and the coolant level we can just check visually. Right, so I'm just going to get ready. So I'm going to start with the easiest task, which is topping up the screen wash fluid, and that goes in this tank here. Mine is already asking me for fluid inside of the car, and also I will say, so it's pretty much empty. I will say make sure you don't just put water in there, so also try not to spill everywhere, but what I was going to say is put the proper fluid in there, and that way when you need it the most it's going to come out. Because if you only add water in there during winter, it can freeze and not come out. But also if it freezes, it can expand, and if it expands it can crack your tank and whatnot. So this fluid here is cheap enough. You can buy a 5-liter bottle, or in this case 2 5-liter bottles and keep one in the trunk or in the boot for topping up as you use it. But you can see 5 liters went in there, and there's a space for a bit more, but that should be fine for now. And right, that's it. That is done. Just close that, and we can move on to checking our coolant. Now this car has been running for a bit because I just drove it here. So if yours is hot as well, when you open these, make sure you open it slowly and carefully. I usually like to press it down as I open it slowly and release the pressure, because you don't want boiling water jumping up your face and causing you an injury and a hospital visit. That is the last thing we want. In there you can already see the coolant, sort of it looks kind of bluish in color, and also if you look at the tank here, if this was empty, this tank would pretty much look like that. So you can tell that it's dark, and that means there is fluid in there. And as a reference of oil level, we have that in there, that little, I'm gonna zoom in, that line there. Basically that line is your reference for your coolant. So my coolant is okay, the level is fine, and now we can use this gadget to check the percentage of antifreeze. Also, this little gadget allows you to see the color, a little bit of the color of the coolant, and whether it's clear or is dirty or whatever. You can see it's nice and clear, it's kind of bluish, and it's saying minus 25, 26. So that means the temperature outside will have to be minus 28, 29, minus 30, say, for this coolant to freeze. So that's something to bear in mind, because again, if you only have water in here and water running around the engine, if it freezes, it can damage your engine. It will damage the water pump. It will cause quite a bit of damage. So make sure you have antifreeze, and that goes by saying, even if you live in a very hot country, you still want to have some antifreeze, because it's got anti-corrosive agents, the antifreeze, so it also protects your engine from corrosion. Obviously you will have a less antifreeze in a hot country, maybe more antifreeze in a very cold country, because if you're in the North Pole, minus 26 is not good enough. You will need something like minus 50 or minus 60. In those cases you may just have pure antifreeze. So anyway, now I'm happy with the level. Obviously if you notice that there's no coolant in here, it's way below that line and whatnot, then you want to top up. But if there's completely empty, then you need to see if there's a coolant leak somewhere that you need to tackle. Then we're going to close this and just close it until it clicks a little bit, and don't force it any more than that. And now we're going to move on to the oil and the oil filter. Okay, so to tackle the oil and the oil filter, I'm going to pull the dipstick here, just open it a little bit, and also I'm going to take this cover out so we can access our filter. This cover just pulls up basically, and then put it to one side. I also have a little bit of a diesel leak at the minute, not sure from where, but I have to find that out. But anyway, our oil filter is sitting here. That's what we want to open, and for that we need, so normally I would use something like this to open the oil filter there, but I seem to have misplaced the one that the correct size, so I'm gonna have to use this. Luckily this one is fairly exposed, so there is enough room for you to get something like this around there and grab it properly, and then you can sort of open it. It shouldn't be that tight anyway, because this thing gets tightened to 25 Newton meters. And obviously if you have serviced your car regularly, then it's not going to be hard to open it. Okay. So there's going to be some oil in there, so just let it drain. You can leave that there sitting for a few minutes as well. Let it drain so you don't take it out and spill everywhere. Also, I'm going to open the oil filler cap here and just leave it open there. That's going to allow a little bit of air into the system. For when we drain it from underneath, it might be a little bit easier to drain. So as I mentioned, the car in this case is to running temperature, so it's hot basically, and when we drain the oil we also want to be careful not to burn ourselves. But you could, if you were doing the the service yourself, you could just run the engine for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes just to warm up the oil a little bit, so it drains out a little bit easier. Okay, I'm going to get the car up now, and so we can drain the oil. Okay, now we need to remove this cover. I've already removed some of the 8mm screws that hold it in place. So there's gonna be a few around, and this is the diesel leak that I have, or I had. I used to have one, so I don't know if this is what's left of it, because I haven't really seen a lot of diesel coming on the floor. It's just a little bits of maybe that are in there. So anyway, have to remove this cover, and we're going to expose the sump, and then we can take care of draining the oil. So once you remove that cover, the sump will be exposed, and here's the sump plug bolt, which is a 13mm bolt, and we can just crack that open, Again, it shouldn't really be that tight. Maybe around, what, 35 Newton meters, we tighten those. So make sure you have an oil pan to catch the oil. And as I mentioned before, the oil can also be very hot, so be aware of that. Okay, that's a little bit on the, I think that's more like a safety thing. Okay, now we can do it. Right, I'm gonna let that drain. It's 80 liters of it. In the meantime, we can prepare our oil, our oil filter, I mean, and I'm just going to remove that back cover there so I can clean it and see if there's any diesel around it. I can't really see any obvious diesel drips around here. So here we have our sump plug bolt, and we're going to fit a new copper washer. So we're going to dispose of the old one, and that is ready. And now we can also prepare our oil filter here. Just pull the old one out, and we're going to give this a little clean in a minute. Remove the old O-rings. So on your new kit with the filter, you're gonna get 2 O-rings, one large one, and then we're gonna have the little one, which is that one there. Can be a little bit tricky to get out, but we're gonna get it out. Try not to get injured at the same time because I'm using a pointy tool there. So finally we have it out. Grab the new one, put the new one in the correct groove. There's only one groove, and just gonna clean my hands a little bit, rinse them from the oil, and I'm going to rinse, just rinsing with some brake cleaner the inside of the oil filter housing there. Just give it a little rinse. That brake cleaner, it dries very quickly, but it's very good for cleaning oil and that kind of thing. So we'll give it a little wipe and get it ready for our new filter. So push the new filter in until it's sitting nicely in there, and just wanted to compare the old filter to the new one in height. Anyway, now we can apply a little bit of multi-purpose grease around this O-ring, which will help slide. The O-ring will slide a little bit easier when we refit this filter back on, and hopefully avoiding it getting damaged. So that is
time
done.
to fit the sump plug
Filter is
bolt
ready.
back
Sump
with a
plug
new
bolt
copper washer.
is ready.
So
now we can
just gonna put it in there.
fit our sump plug bolt back.
Finger tight first. Just make sure it's going in the correct way. And then we can tighten it. I've got my torque wrench here, and it's set to that's it, 35 Newton meters is what I set it to. Now some brake cleaner, clean the area, make sure it's all nice and dry here. That way, when you check it next year, if there's any leaks here, then at least you know it wasn't from a previous leak, basically. Right, let's clean this. I'm just using some brake cleaner to rinse the area. It's very good for this. Now I'm gonna fit the cover back and we can top up some oil. Right, time to fit the oil filter back. And again, I always fit this in by hand. Make sure it's going in the correct way. Which doesn't... Okay. So as much as you can by hand, make sure it's going in the correct direction, and then you can use your tool or one of these, obviously, in order to just close that. So again, if you have a torque wrench, make sure you use it. That way you tighten this to the correct force. If you do this all the time, then you will know pretty much how much to tighten that. And now we can move on to putting some oil. So I'll be putting in there, as I already showed you, 8 liters. I got 4 in this container and 4 liters on the other container. I got 2 of these. And it will go in there. Okay, so that's the second pot I'm fitting in, and now we're gonna check the oil here. So I'm just gonna give that a little clean. Just gonna rinse it with my brake cleaner here so we can have a clear picture. Right. So we have in this dipstick, we have a minimum side, which is to the left here, and then a maximum side. And you can actually see it's actually written in there. It says min and max, although a bit difficult to see, but this side here is the max and min. So we're aiming to be at the max area sort of thing, because we just changed the oil. And after we run the car for a few minutes, some of that oil will go into the oil filter housing there, and it will stay there. So next time you check this, it will be a little bit lower. It won't be in the same position. Right, you can see there clearly this is at the max. And diesel oil always looks kind of black for whatever reason, but anyway, I'm happy with that level. After I check it a bit later, it will go down a little bit. So as I was saying, I'm happy with the level. I'm gonna put this back in there, and we can now also remove this, get rid of it, and I am going to close these, and we can get this car started. So just to recap, we've closed that, we've closed this, we closed our filter, and we torqued the bolt at the bottom. Those are the important things before we start the car, so there's not going to be any oil going everywhere basically. So let's get this car going. Okay, that started okay. It's all sounding good, and there's no oil pressure warning lamps or anything coming up in here. And the next thing what we're going to do is we are going to reset the service interval there, which says it's gone overdue by 294 days, and that's because I haven't really been using the car that much. It's just been sitting around. However, I did take it to Germany and whatnot, and I had to do the service today because I was also gonna do the MOT, and I was checking the brake discs and pads, which it looks like I need front pads as well and whatnot. So and obviously I had the fuel leak, which I think it was from the past. I cleaned the covers underneath, and hopefully that's gonna be okay. So anyway, having said that, we're going to reset the service interval. Right, so to reset the service interval that comes up in there, it says service C overdue by 295 days. So what we're going to do, okay, so to proceed, get your key, put in the ignition, position 1, and then you're gonna get the message. Just acknowledge that by pressing OK, and then you press the phone button here on the right and the OK button. So press this one first and then the OK, hold it for a few seconds, and a menu will come up that says vehicle data, roller test, assist plus workshop. So we're gonna go to assist plus workshop with this arrow here, press OK, and then we're going to go to service completed, press OK, and then services due, press OK on that. Full service, select OK. Now it's asking you the oil grade that you may have used. So I used the 22931 as it was written on my oil can. I'm gonna select that and just press OK to that. And then it says service completed, oil grade 229.31, and go down with the arrow to say yes and press OK. And it says service done. So that should be done really. Now we can just check this again, and we have no longer a message coming there. So what we can do now is we can check when the next service will be with these arrows. If with this arrow here, press the arrow and go all the way to service, and then go down to assist plus, press OK, and then it says next service C in 365 days. And that's pretty much it. So, and then we can come out of there. So hope the video helps. Don't forget to like, follow and subscribe, and we'll see you all in the next video. So thank you for watching.